And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes. And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around your real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, business sales, business funding, and so much more. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Our number one goal is to educate, entertain, engage in an effort to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now, I want you to pull out your smartphone and save our consumer advocate hotline number in your phone. It's 813.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-917-1894. We want you to bookmark, save that number. 813-917-1894. And also bookmark realestateradiotampa.com. That's our website, blog site, a plethora of information available for you, show recaps as well as expert contributor links. You can see all of the expert contributors cards under the expert contributors tab. By the way, if you're watching from a computer or your office, all you have to do is open up the Google Chrome app and you can listen to our live stream at realestateradiotampa.com as well. Click on the live stream app, or from Tampa Bay Multimedia is our partner as well. And this segment is brought to you by my health team, consisting of Michael Vogt. He's an expert massage therapist here in Tampa Bay, Back in Health Massage, located on Gun Highway. And he's voted top 10 massage services in Tampa Bay by the Best in the Biz Awards multiple times. So shout out to Michael Vogt, expert massage therapist, as well as part 2 of my health team. And, you know, let's face it, what else do you have in this world if you don't have your health? You know, so many people we see are faced with cancers, different things out there. What do you have if you don't have your health? I want you reaching out to Ray Milton with Ray's Vegan Soul. Check him out on Facebook. Just search Ray's Vegan Soul, where I'll hit you with the flavor. That's his tagline. He does a great job cooking these awesome meals for me, and I greatly appreciate our partnership there with Michael Vogt, our massage therapist, and Ray, who is our expert chef. He'll cook these meals for you, have them in your vehicle. That way, when you're going from appointment to appointment during the day, you're not running into these fast food stores, and you're healthy and you're energized and living with full vigor. So here we are live from iHeartRadio, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. every week. We got a weekend show on 102.5 The Bone, and we stream all of our shows live. We're going to go around the horn now, make our introductions. Back in studio, Kayer, Synergistic Funding. How you doing, sir?
Doing well, Brandon. Thanks for having us.
Excellent. Yeah, what are we going to talk about today? A little teaser.
Well, I think, you know, with James being in there, kind of some of the frustrations we run into from, you know, kind of we work on the same team. So a lot of times when we see deals and we're trying to finance the transaction, we run into some obstacles where the seller is, you know, maybe stating one price point, but in reality, it justifies another. And we have to come up with creative solutions many times to help facilitate that transaction. So that'll be I would imagine a big focus today.
Perfect. Yeah, small business loans, business funding, alternative types of money. You know, you can't walk into your bank and get a lot of these types of loan programs we're going to talk about today. So if you need entrepreneurs, business owners out there, stay tuned. Do not touch that dial. Also, Nasim as well, VP of Sales, Synergistic Funding. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, thank you for having us, Brandon.
Hey, my pleasure. And James Lascano, longtime friend of the program, business advisor, TransWorld Business Advisors. He's a business broker and works with buyers, sellers out there, investors. What say you, sir?
Just happy to be here, Brandon, and I'm looking forward to discussing as immediately what Kayer said.
All right, excellent. Yeah, hey, you know, we don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder on your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We want to help you establish a game plan. You know, huddle up, call an audible sometimes. You might be, you know, going down the wrong path. We're going to help you with that. We're going to make you street smart here with the Real Estate Quarterback Show and be your super connector. We're going to quarterback these introductions for, you know, whatever you might need. Again, 75-plus show partners now associated with the Real Estate Quarterback Show and our second brand, which is the Consumer Quarterback Show. That show is more health, wealth, nutrition, lifestyle related. So, we want to help you win. So that's the ultimate goal of this show. Let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. When you think about small business funding, we want you to think about Synergistic funding here, local company based in Tampa, some great guys, great team. This is Intelligent Talk Radio, and I've got some intelligent folks here in studio. Kayer, what are you guys seeing out there?
So, I tell you, as far as the pipeline of deals we have right now in the books, a lot of, we talk about alternative funding. We kind of talked about it in the previous shows. There's a lot of these companies popping up, but they're what we call one-trick ponies, where they have one singular product, and they're pumping a lot of marketing dollars to just shove money down these business owners' throats.
Right.
But the reality is that does more damage than it does good for them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these business owners jump on it. They'd love to have another $50,000 in their bank account, but they're paying on these things daily.
Yep.
And if you're not using these proceeds for a month, 2 months, 3 months down the line, it doesn't make any sense. And so we're doing a lot of refis out of that.
Wow.
We're seeing a lot of business owners who, have good businesses. Their cash flows are tight now because these daily debits are coming in, and we're trying to basically refi that out over a longer period so cash flows can breathe, essentially.
Yeah, and I imagine, with what I've seen, a strong mortgage history myself here, retail, wholesale side with Argent Mortgage, Equifirst, different banks I've worked for many times. And what happens with those types of institutions is that they're going to have one loan program, either you fit or you don't, and they're going to, sorry, I can't help you.
Yep.
You guys have multiple investors that you can go to.
Well, yeah, we have basically a smorgasbord, if you will, of products where it comes from our private investor bases as well as institutional funding as well. But it's really more designed around what's the right fit for that client. If you're trying, everyone wants to expand, but what are those expansion goals really entail? And if that doesn't require upfront money now, let's get you a line of credit to help facilitate that down the line. And it's really more of a customer focused type of a solution as opposed to, hey, this is what we have, take it. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of rates in general, I just was listening and I heard and read some of the minutes. The interest rate is going to be going up. I think they just announced that. And so, as a business owner, as a homeowner, these rates, the difference in a quarter point or a half a point are going to greatly impact, the amount of business that you can buy, the amount of a home that you can purchase, your refinance. Does your refinance make sense? Maybe it does not. Now, if you wait another 60 days, it's not going to make sense. So let's get you off the fence. Again, this show, we want to have you take action. So many people live on someday I'll, someday I'll make the call. Someday I'm going to improve my business. Someday I'm going to do that new marketing strategy that I want to try. So let's get you off of someday I'll. Let's get you into an opportunity to build your business and grow. So why don't you text right now? If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or even a friend of a business owner, go ahead and text small business funding or business loan to 813-917-1894. That's our consumer advocate hotline. All you have to do is call or text business loan, business funding. We're going to make an introduction to the finest folks here in Tampa Bay that are going to be able to help you win in any marketplace. That's the goal. We want to help you, reach out. It doesn't hurt anything. It may be a 6-month process, but text now to 813-917-1894, business loan, business funding. And, sometimes I'm sure that happens as well. Naseem, you guys are working with people, and it may not be an initial deal right up front, but maybe it's 6 months down the line. Maybe it's a year down the line.
You're absolutely right, and it's as if you were in my head, because that's what I was going to touch up on. Sometimes we have to hold their hands or coach them for the next 3 to 6 months and kind of just teach them how to keep their bank accounts in the positive and how to keep that cash flow going and not to allow themselves to get into a deficit, even if it's one day of the month.
Right.
That'll actually hurt you and hurt your chances in regards to getting a loan, because these lenders want to see that you know how to manage money.
Exactly.
And some people, they don't necessarily, when people come to us, they don't necessarily have financial issues, but they're looking to grow. So some of the guys out there who have businesses and they're net 30, net 40, they want to just advance those invoices and increase the the money coming in so that they could take on more and bigger jobs.
Right. It's all about cash flow. Keep that cash flowing. By the way, shout out to William Crowley, a.k.a. the Credit Magician. If you have any issues, maybe you're driving in your car, you're walking down the beach right now listening to the iHeartRadio app, you may have some credit issues, and we have William Crowley. He is the Credit Magician. He is the best when it comes to credit. You send a text or call as well for that. And, a lot of times it's a process that we're looking at when we're talking about, reorganizing some of your debt. We're talking about restructuring your business model. We're talking about improving your accounts receivables. There's so many ways that we can help you with the Real Estate Quarterback Show. We've got these experts here in studio, and they're going to have a free consultation. People walk in, they're going to be able to sit down with you. You'll probably meet them at their business as well.
Yep, we could do it either way. Many times, they're welcome to come set an appointment and come to our offices. We go to their office. A lot of times when they have a unique product in a production, so to speak, we like to go and tour their facility. Exactly. So we've done that, especially in the manufacturing space. But it works either way. We're open on whatever we need to do to help.
And I bet your investors like that too. You can say, hey, firsthand, I saw this facility. It's not one of these phantom type of deals.
Absolutely.
So that helps strengthen your relationship with your investors, and it's going to help also the consumer out there get a better offer, get a better rate
Absolutely.
on their offering. So, hey, stay with us. We're going to talk about the Tampa Council to vote on $35.5 million contract for Riverfront Park, and more from our experts here in studio. We're talking with the fellows from Synergistic Funding, small business loans, small business funding, alternative types of loans for business owners out there, entrepreneurs, as well as James Lascano. He's a business broker and TransWorld Business Advisors. He's a business advisor as well. So if you're a business owner out there, this show is developed for you. We put this one together. When I saw this one coming up, I said it's going to be a great show for our business owner friends out there. So stay with us. The best is yet to come. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, business loans, business funding, business brokers. We're having a great conversation here, Intelligent Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. And this segment is brought to you by Greg over at Printing Solutions, Inc., digitalprintingsource.com. He does a great job on a lot of our flyers, postcards that we mail out for our real estate business. I'm the owner of Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. We got a beautiful property here in South Tampa that we're looking to sell. It's 414 South Royal Palm Way in Tampa. We just reduced this property down to $1.195 million. Beautiful beach park property, 33609, 4 bedrooms, 3 full bath, 2 half bath. Over 4,800 square foot living, and it's a beautiful historic style home. You're not going to find another like this. It's historical property, beautiful large backyard, estate style pool. 414 South Royal Palm Way. Check it out. Also have a opportunity out in East County here. It's 8203 U.S. Highway 301 South in Riverview. This is a commercial opportunity. It's a restaurant operating. There's also a smaller computer repair store at 8203 U.S. Highway number 301 South. $650,000 with the great traffic flow coming by, thousands of cars going by daily at the Highway 301 South in Riverview. And I've got a listing in Lithia, 5722 Tanager Side Road in Lithia. We're doing an open house on Sunday at this property, Parkside Village, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. And it's without the CDD or high HOA fees. The way that this property was built when it was developed, they are excluded from a lot of those higher HOA fees. 5722 Tanager Side Road, Lithia, 4 bedroom, 3 bath, Parkside Village, listed at $459,000. We just did a reduction on this one as well. So we're back here live from iHeartRadio, beautiful South Tampa, and one of the best places to live, work, and play. All right, first segment, we heard from the fellas over at Synergistic Funding, small business loans, business financing. Now we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk to James Lascano. He's a business broker here, Tampa Bay, and he's also with TransWorld Business Advisors. Welcome back in, sir.
Thank you very much, Brandon. Always a pleasure to be here, and always a pleasure to go ahead and give any type of information that I can for our viewers.
That's right. So you just came off of a really cool trip over in Orlando, huh?
Yes, we had the IBBA National Conference. And it was a great learning experience. We got together with business brokers from around the U.S. and got to discuss a lot of things. I actually got to meet Gary Hoover from the Hoover website, which, is able to give all information on all companies. Like Dun & Bradstreet actually had recently acquired them. And it was really amazing to be able to talk to this gentleman and get so much incredible information from him. So it was
kind of like the MLS of commercial businesses, somewhat, maybe the Zillow.
No. Hoover basically gives you inside information on the company, the leadership, salaries, things like that. Cool. We use something like that when we talk about something like the MLS system is more like the Business Brokers of Florida is what we use here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
But it was really nice to be able to talk to him. This man has such a wealth of knowledge of everything, and he was able to talk to us about when Toys R Us was developing its model, and obviously a long time ago when he said, look, this was a great business idea, and I knew it was going to happen, and I saw other businesses after Toys R Us began to start modeling their businesses that way. So it was really a learning experience. While I also wanted to actually, while I was here, I wanted to also mention a couple of businesses that I have for sale. One of them particularly is an asset sale that the lady just lowered the price. This lady started this wonderful business in Clearwater. It's a beautiful place. And, I mean, it's first class all the way. Unfortunately, her husband lost his job. And as you know, to start a business, it normally takes about 3 years when you start getting your return on investment. Well, they're only about the 10-month mark. So they came to me and they said, James, we really need help. We want to. Unfortunately, we need to walk away. And I told them, sadly, sometimes like this, these things do happen, but it's a benefit to the buyer. It's a beautiful place. It's already been established. They've won multiple awards, and they're selling it at asset value. Just lowered the price from $35,000 to $26,000. I am telling you, when you walk into this retail store of gifts, it's a retail store of gifts. You would just be amazed of how beautiful it is, and it's only for $26,000. I mean,
wow.
And right now, they're extremely motivated. I also have a beautiful Rodeo Drives type of business. This one's incredible. Again, you look at it and it is first class all the way. Also, I've been to Beverly Hills. I've actually had the pleasure to travel to California, and this place mimics that type of salon and spa.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and it's for sale for $160,000. I've always still selling that beautiful school that I have. Obviously, this is a more niche market for $1.8 million, as I mentioned in our last show. the revenue stream is 144. The return on investment is about 20% actually, which is a lower risk than most, because also you're buying property also, and you have a cap rate on that one. So it's a phenomenal deal for anybody who wants to get into a school business. It is not a franchise. I know people for schools, they hesitate on franchises, so they said no, this is not a franchise, but it looks like a franchise. So that's a good thing about it. And I have a beautiful restaurant right now for sale also that has over $270,000 worth of new equipment. The gentleman is a great person, but for health reasons, he's selling. He is older. He's close to retirement age actually, and it nets about $70,000, and the gross is about $450,000. All new equipment. He's selling it right now. Lowered the price to $155 right now because he's very motivated. He says, James, I just need to move on. So that's basically an update right now of what's going on in the market for businesses. You know, we have very motivated sellers. Some of them are getting ready to retire, and they're very excited to move on with their lives.
Yeah, it's interesting. Great listings there. And I imagine in your business, too, a lot of people try to do it like as a real estate agent. You know, I'm a top listing agent here in the Bay Area, 35, 45 listings at any given time. And there's some buyers out there that want to drive around and they want to call on the sign. And they, you know, those types of things, if you try to do it on your own, it's going to create a lot of stress. So we want you to avoid the stress. You know, there's no need to try to do all this on your own. If you reach out to James, maybe talk about that, James. You know, what's the process if somebody's interested in buying a business?
Correct. Well, they can contact us, or they can contact TransWorld. Remember, TransWorld is the second largest privately owned business brokerage firm in the United States. People, because there's so many few privately owned business brokerage firms, people sometimes get amazed at that we're here locally in Tampa and we have an office here. The other thing is that I do like to tell you that I recently, when I signed this salon and spa, when I met the seller, a lot of these things are very personal, and I got to approach her and I spoke to her, and you know, these things sometimes when someone's selling a business, for hers are personal reasons. You know, she loves her business, but they're personal reasons that she has to relocate actually. And you know, she asked me, you know, James, you're representing me, right? Because I have nobody else. And I told her, with all due respect, I don't represent you. I'm a person that's a transaction broker. I stand in the middle. Right. So I make it aware that I don't let the scales tip. I basically just transfer information from one side to the other. However, I told her, I can't advise you because I'm not an attorney. I can just give you experiences that I've had, and I can tell you how things are being done in the market, but I will not let someone come in there and take advantage of you. You know, I mean, my job is to make sure that it's fair, and that's one of the things that I transferred to her. And that's all she wanted. She's like, I just want to make sure that I'm treated fairly. I'm like, then that's my job. I'm going to make sure that you are treated fairly and tell you how things are going in the market to make sure that you get the top dollar for your business, and that you're able to do the right deal. And that's someone we can talk to Synergistic Funding and tell them, look, what's the right deal out there for them, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Any points on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes to the proper planning, right? When we're talking about a seller and wanting to maximize that dollar for their hard-earned, you know, years of working in a business, it's all comes down to how did you manage those books? You know, almost every time, 9 times out of 10, and this is, it could be varies by industries, but you know, we have a large focus on, or a lot of deal flow that comes from the convenience store, gas station industry,
right? And
in that case, it's a cash type of business, and the owners want to take advantage of, you know, not having to show as much tax or pay much tax year to year. But when they go to sell, now their books are, you know, they're telling us, hey, I do X, but their tax returns justify another. And if you're going for conventional financing, you know, it's not something that we're kind of providing day to day. Then when we turn around and take you to a bank, they're going to look at strictly what did you do on a gross sales, you know, and things of that nature. And if those are less than what you really did, well, guess what? That's all we're able to get justify in terms of financing. So the sellers typically have to take a note, and a lot of times they want more up front, and you know, that's where the negotiation tactics and things of those nature have to take place.
Yeah, it's catch-22. They want to, you know, save the money on the taxes, but then it comes time to qualify for something new, or you know, moving up, moving down. You know, for a residential, might be closer to the beach, closer to work. There's these different scenarios. You know, it brings to mind a gentleman that's been trying to sell a property. By the way, it kind of jogged my memory. I need to get his number to you. Okay. But you know, maybe give him a consultation. But yeah, he's got a station over there. He's collecting a lot of cash. gosh, and he's been trying to sell. I see it come up as an expired listing time and time again, but maybe you guys can help him. So it's Kayer, Synergistic Funding. Nasim, he's the VP of Sales, Synergistic Funding, and James Lascano here, TransWorld Business Advisors, business brokers, small business loans. And when we come back, also, I want to talk about how we can help these homeowners or these business owners develop and get that ready for their legacy, their exit strategy. How as a business owner you can develop your exit strategy. It's so important. You work 20, 30 years on this business. It's a small business. It's your life. You live it and breathe it. You get the calls on Saturdays and you got to deal with it. So let's talk about how you can capitalize that. Also, Tampa Council to vote on $35.5 million contract for Riverview Park. Stay with us. The best is yet to come. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. I want to remind you we have our book is out. It's on Amazon, the Real Estate Quarterback's Consumer Advocate Playbook. We've got over 10 or 12 of our different partners in here. The foreword is written by Tom Hopkins, author of Mastering the Art of Selling, and Chris Brogan is CEO of Owner Media Group. So check out our book. We'd really appreciate you checking it out, downloading it, buying a copy, and liking and share it, writing a review for us. That would be awesome. And this segment is brought to you by the Maids Cleaning Service. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties. Shout out to the Maids. They are referred for a reason. And we're back here live from iHeartRadio, South Tampa here. Beautiful South Tampa, sunny and 75 most of the time. We've got a couple of hot properties I want to touch on. I've got a 527 Cloverleaf Drive in Lithia. And this is in the Candlewood Acres. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bath property, but it's got 42 acres of land. So any builders, any developers, any entrepreneurs out there, $2.1 million for this 527 Cloverleaf Drive, Lithia, Florida property. The owners are motivated. We just reduced this one down to 1.99. Beautiful buying opportunity. And also 0 North Jasmine Avenue in Tarpon Springs. This is a design and build option for a vacant land, listed at $399,000 for a 2,200 square foot home, 4 bedrooms, 3 full bath, 1 half bath with a pool. And also 0 Merlin Drive in Newport Richey, reduced down to $79,000. This is a very unique property in Hidden Lake. It's one of those fly-in communities. So you can fly in, and you have an airplane hangar right next to your home. And most people have a garage. You have an airplane hangar. And shout out to Captain Will Smith teaching me how to fly up in the friendly skies. And we're doing a trip down to Key West soon. Going to go down there and get a $100 cheeseburger down in the Keys. So a lot of fun up there with Captain Will Smith. And so we're back here in studio. We got Kayer, Synergistic Funding. He's the CFO. We've got Nasim here as well. He's the VP of Sales, Synergistic Funding, and James Lascano, TransWorld Business Advisors. He's a business broker and going to help you buy or sell a business and develop that exit strategy. So that's kind of what we were teasing. We were talking about, as a business owner, you work in this business for 20, 30, sometimes more years. And what do you have at the end? It's all based on your books. It's based on the clients that you develop. So, James, I want James to elaborate a little bit about that process.
Oh, definitely. Thank you very much. And for just to tell you also, I just for family reasons, I had to pick up my sister, who's actually living in San Diego. My brother-in-law is actually a lieutenant commander in the Navy, so shouts out to him. Thank you for his service. And he was recently transferred over there. And my sister's been living there and came back, and she said, "There's no place like Tampa." She's like, she's like, San Diego was beautiful, she told me, but you know what, James? We just can't wait to come back. She's like, we can't wait to come back to Tampa. There's no place like Tampa. I've lived in different areas. Tampa is a beautiful city. It is a city where you can be in the metropolitan area, and 45 minutes away you live in a nice suburb. So gotta love living here. For what you were saying, yeah, it's very, very important. People, most of the time, people, when they run a business, and a small business, which we mostly focus on, a lot of times, they're trying to make sure that they minimize their tax expenses, like every smart business person or corporation. The problem is that when you go to do your exit strategy and you've continued to do that, you're going to hurt yourself in the end when you're going to sell the business, because obviously, cash flow is king, and you need to be able to show that your business has been pulling in for revenue. Now, if you're utilizing different strategies like having cars, or I had one business owner who had he had 2 houses that he had under his business, but he did legitimately use them for clients that would come from different parts of the world, because it's a worldwide company. So that was a legitimate expense, but it depends on how you're going to structure it at the end. I know that a lot of times we would tell somebody, look, if you're looking to exit your business within 3 years, start getting your taxes clean. Start, pay the extra taxes, because you're going to maximize on it. Also, you got to look at different aspects of what may happen. I was speaking to a seller yesterday, and she has a publishing company, and she did very well in 1998. She went ahead and the company, one of the biggest publishing companies in the U.S., had paid her $400,000 just for a few books that she had published, and she wanted to sell now. And she told me, well, I want to get that same amount of money. And I told her, okay, well, it doesn't kind of work that way. It goes, well, why not? They were willing to pay. And I basically told her they were going to pay you what is called blue sky, which basically means they have an alternative motive. Okay. And they were willing to pay more because of that alternative motive, because they may have seen that it was more expensive to go into market with doing it themselves or things like that. And a great story, and I'm going to try to shorten this story, but a great story is how Almond Joy came into the States in the 1950s. I believe it was 1950s. Almond Joy was for sale, and a company, Cadbury, went ahead and was going to buy them. What Cadbury had put a strategy together, and I got this story from the vice president of Cadbury, who was here in the United States, and he basically said, look, Cadbury had approved a $250 million point of entry into the United States, which they had approved. They said, look, we're going to go ahead and move forward. when Almond Joy came in for sale at 20 million, they basically said, you know what? They looked at Almond Joy and they said this would be a much more economical point of entry. So Cadbury went ahead and moved forward and made a bid. Now, most people, the company went out for bid, and people were saying, okay, the company will probably, specialists were saying the company's probably going to sell between 18 to 25 million. Cadbury paid 50 million for the company. 50.
50.
Yeah, 50. And people were just amazed. They're like, we can't believe this. They just wanted to completely disregard anybody even looking at the company. And people were like, well, what is that? I go, that's blue sky. You know, they are looking at the long-term investment. They already approved the 250. So for them, they're seeing a $200 million savings is what they saw. And they just wanted to go, every competitor out there that was going to bid for it, they just wanted to knock it out of the park and said, look, this is what we see. And they were able to get this business. When I talked to some people like this lady yesterday, I told her, that's very far and few in between. That does not happen. That's not common.
Yeah.
And you may see that. I'm dealing with that right now with a client of mine, and the seller doesn't understand. It's like, look, he's willing to pay you what you ask, even what you're asking is more than the business is worth, because he has an alternative motive, okay?
Yeah.
It may be to knock out a competitor. It may be to do something. So in that sense, people sometimes hear of these stories and say, oh, that's my company. No, that's not your company, okay? It's rare, okay? And I wanted to actually talk to Kayer and ask him, you know, how often in the scene, how often do you guys see something like this? Because like I said, this is, I mean, if you see this every 50 deals, it may come across, and it's very rare at best.
Yeah, what you're saying is exactly, it's almost like pie in the sky for most of these guys, right?
Yeah.
Because the average small business owner who hears of these things, exactly, they want that, but their business won't justify it for a myriad of reasons. And one of them also is, if you take that person out of the business, what's left in that business? It's probably not much.
Yep.
So another key thing too, when you're looking at your exit strategy, is trying to automate or systemize as much as you can, and not have the weight of the shoulders, basically all on your shoulders rather, because if you are removed, if that person does not have the same capabilities or skill sets as you, especially with the experience level, a lot of times when these new guys come in, it's a business that they're wanting to get into, but they haven't put 10, 15 years of their sweat equity into it, and they may not get the same results. So it's, you know, if from the seller's perspective, they need to systemize and automate as much as possible so they can hold and keep that value.
Yeah, so important to do that. You think about the key person. Sometimes they have insurance policies for that key person. You think about, and with James' story as well, when a company is going to buy another company, they're going to look at the economies of scale and how it may improve their processes, or they might be buying it to, borrow some credibility that brand has already built up. Or, you know, there's other ways to look at, or they might even rebrand their company under the new brand and get rid of their brand because they know what's coming down the pike, maybe some lawsuit that we don't even know about. There's so many reasons that happen with business funding.
And that has happened.
Yeah,
that has happened.
Exactly.
That happened with AT&T. Remember, AT&T was SBC, Southern Bell Companies from California.
Yep.
And they ended up saying, no, we're going to buy it, but the brand is critical. And because SBC was the one that bought AT&T. AT&T was going down really bad. And AT&T decided to, and they said the investment is worth the brand. Yeah. And they went ahead and do that. AT&T was not going to exist anymore.
Yeah. I want to remind you, you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. We've got Kier from Synergistic Funding, Nasim as well from Synergistic Funding, and James Lascano, TransWorld Business Advisors. He's a business broker. He's going to help you buy and sell businesses, maybe looking at an alternative investment opportunity. I want to give a shout out also to Scott Maurer with Advanta IRA. You know, if you have IRA holdings, he can help you with some of these processes. You know, you can buy a business, you can buy real estate through your IRA, defer some of that taxable growth that you may experience. And, great roundtable discussion here. I want to remind you, check out our YouTube channels. You can go on YouTube and check out some really great interviews we've had. Any type of business you want to learn more about, check out our YouTube channel, Facebook.com/REQB show. Got a Twitter handle out there at Brandon Rhymes 1. And we're going to talk about Tampa Council to vote on $35.5 million contract for Riverfront Park. When we come back, and more from our experts here in studio. We're talking about small business loans, small business funding, alternative types of funding that you can't get by walking into one of the big box banks that you find on the corner. You know, these are things that are kind of, they're entrepreneurial. They're ways that they can find these other types of deals for you. And James is going to talk to you about how to find the type of business you want to invest in, or potentially design and build that exit strategy. So all of our expert contributors are listed at realestateradiotampa.com on our website. Just click on the Expert Contributors tab, and you can see links to their websites and their phone contact information as well. So stay with us. The best is yet to come. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Shout out to our restaurant partner, Hula Bay. It's the official restaurant partner of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, located just south of Gandy, off of West Shore on Tyson. Down at its waterfront ambiance. Great restaurant, awesome sushi, so much great food. Go say hello to Mike Finnegan. He's the manager over there. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you for a free water with lemon. He'll hook you up. We're back here from iHeartRadio, beautiful South Tampa, sunny and 75. I'm in studio with Synergistic Funding, Kayer and Nassim, and also James Lascano, TransWorld Business Advisors, business broker here in Tampa Bay, helping folks buy, sell, or invest in a business. And also, we teased before the break, we were talking about Tampa Council to vote on $35.5 million contract for Riverfront Park. Says Mayor Bob Buckhorn's proposed a $35.5 million makeover of Julian B. Lane Riverfront Park. It come up for vote, and it's the largest amount of money that's ever been invested in West Tampa. As far as he can tell, it's at 23 acres. Riverfront Park is about 4 times as big as Curtis Hickson Park, but Buckhorn said that the amount of general revenue it's going to into the project comparable to what was spent 7 years ago to reconfigure Curtis Hickson. That's because the city plans to spend $15 million of the BP money it received after settling its lawsuit over lost tourism revenues after the Deepwater Horizon oil spill that we've all seen the impact of that, and hopefully we get that behind us. So interesting. I want to open that up to comment. A lot of great things happening downtown, and that Riverside area, Riverfront Park area, and you've got Vinnick down there with the wellness district that he's planning. A lot of cool things happening. Let's start right here with Kayer.
I think it's great. I mean, I think we've all seen. I've grown up in Tampa my entire life, so 33 years or so here in Tampa. And the amount of growth over the last, I'd say, decade has just been phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
And and as far as in the residential space, the listings you can't sell them faster. I mean, there's such a shortage right now with the influx of people that are continuously moving in.
That's right.
That we're almost running out of space internally, within the city limits or parameters to continue to build. So I think it's fantastic. We can debate about how much of that 15 million should technically go there and all that. And that's another scenario. But I think as far as what Buckhorn has done for the city thus far, it's been nothing less than spectacular.
He's the number one cheerleader. When we had him on the show, he said, Brandon, to quote Alicia Keys, this town is on fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they do a great job, and not only Buckhorn, Kreisman, and Predicus, they all work together. We compete as a region. Is Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Clearwater, and we compete as a region when it comes to jobs, when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to conventions, the presidential elections, all these different types. We want to keep the Rays here in Tampa Bay. I mean, there's a lot of debate, and our mayors are doing a great job here to keeping Tampa at the tops of the list.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
Yeah, so you look at downtown St. Pete, Clearwater. You got the best beaches. Great place to live, work, and play. About 1,000 people a day are the numbers that I've seen moving into Florida, and then a lot of those folks are going to go to Tampa Bay because you look at the East Coast, Miami, Lauderdale, very expensive. A little bit more of a faster pace. Not so much as far as some people's taste. Some people may like that more, but when you look at the affordability, the absence of a state income tax, Tampa Bay is really hard to beat.
Absolutely.
So anybody else want to comment on that?
Oh, no, phenomenal. Like you said, like you were saying, Brandon, as I mentioned earlier in the show, my sister's visiting, and she went to the beach in San Diego and not impressed. And I think we take a lot of things for granted here because, Florida and Tampa has some of those most beautiful beaches in the entire world. And, people come here because of that reason. Our number one income comes from tourism.
Yeah.
In the entire state of Florida. And we're a tourist state, and the reason is because people love to come here is because we keep our places clean. We're very organized in that sense, and we have people like the mayors in this area that are always focused and continuing to make this place a very pleasant area to come live, travel, enjoy, and visit at all times. And my hats to them. They're doing a good job, and I'm very happy about that. And again, saying that in the sense of how the city is changing and improving and the growth and how we're getting people here. And Florida is a great place also to bring corporations. Johnson & Johnson's coming here, Citigroup is coming here, building a larger area in Temple Terrace. I mean, we are we're a very great state for businesses.
Yeah, Amazon, East County, Amazon. I mean, lots of great companies. And what I love about it, too, being involved in the charitable nonprofit, I emceed last year's Wine, Women, and Shoes event for the Children's Cancer Center. Been getting involved with emceeing events and public speaking. But it's a great area that, supports its own. And that's why I want to urge you as listeners out there, support these local businesses. These are folks that, they grew up in Tampa Bay. They live, work, and play here. They're going to invest monies back into Tampa Bay Synergistic funding, as well as James Lascano here, business broker with TransWorld Business Advisors. So, support the local companies. Don't go into the big corner store, the big box banks. You know who they are. Those guys took the bailout money. I've seen a lot of these loan modifications that they're doing for people. It's not fair. They're sticking people with these $180,000, $200,000 balloon payments that are due in 40 years, and they call that a fair deal. When they take the bailout money, they give their CEOs the golden parachutes, and then they stick it to the small people that are homeowners just trying to pay on a home and then have some equity at the end. Oh, no, you got to pay us a balloon payment now. Not fair. So that's what we're here for. We want to stand up for the small business owner out there, the folks out there looking to grow a better sphere of influence, leave a better legacy for their family. We have a QAA formula with this show. As listeners, you may have questions. We're going to provide some answers, but more importantly, we want to give you these action items where you can actually take a step forward, get get off of Someday Isle and make that step. So I want you to reach out and call 813-917-1894. Shoot a text or call, small business funding, looking to buy a business, whatever it might be your situation, reach out, and I promise we're batting 1,000%. We have not had not one negative feedback from anybody that's reached out to our show. So text small business or business loans to 813-917-1894.
And that was a great point, Brendan, you make. We are all local. My office here is in 201 South Westland Avenue in Hyde Park. This TransWorld itself was founded here in Florida, out of Fort Lauderdale. It was funny, last week, the CEO of TransWorld, who started it, basically purchased it, said last month he made his final payment that he completely owned the business. That's a great accomplishment, and he's not that older of a gentleman. He's only about 48. And he said, look, I worked very hard. I built this business to what it is today, and I finally paid my last quote, and we're done. That's awesome. Now we're just moving forward. Those are the stories that we want to go ahead and push forward. And he loves Florida. He invests in Florida. He always donates to charitable organizations. He donated to Wine, Women, and Shoes. He said, thank you for representing the corporation we're working in Tampa. We're local. We're here. If I'm not in my office, our receptionist will reach out to me, or usually I'm meeting with clients. But we're local here, and we're here to help in any way that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and enter our lightning round. All right, top consumer tips, things to do, things to avoid. You're up first, Kayer.
I'd say if you're a small business owner looking to grow your business, as all business owners are, separate the personal expenses that you guys are using in your business. I can't tell you how many times we look at the cash flow of business and analyzing the bank statements, and we see miscellaneous things that could be moved into their personal accounts, and that affects our ability to provide funding, because that money's not there because you're spending it in places that you shouldn't be.
Great point, too, because what happens is, as well, if you get someone out there that is looking to pierce your corporate veil, all of a sudden now you think you have an LLC protecting you, or Inc. You're incorporated, but a good attorney is going to say, well, it looks like you spent this money on your personal BMW. You had a vacation home on here. This is not a business. This is a personal spending account for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So another reason why to separate the business and the personal expenses. Nassim?
I think a good advice for our listeners and business owners or potential business owners is to do not just apply to any random loan or mailer that you get, or certificate that says you have $100,000 waiting for you, because what happens is you get locked into these really extremely high interest rate loans,
right?
And then you contact us, and what we'll have to do is coach you for 6 months, or tell you, as of right now, all your money is tied up to paying these loans. You can't afford another loan, or we try to refinance something for you. So just be careful. Don't go willy-nilly, signing documents.
Yeah.
And contact us first.
Do some research. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Contact our local partners here, Synergistic Funding. James, we got about a minute left.
Yeah, definitely. What I would definitely say, first and foremost, is to plan what you're going to do with your business, or your exit strategy, what you're going to do afterwards. And then, of course, get your books in order, and then call me. I'll be able to help you in any way that I can, and we'll provide you with partners. We work together here synergistically with all the partners, and Brandon can attest to that. I always call when I have a question. I call and I say, look, what do we need to do? We're local, and we're here to help in any way that we can.
That's right. Yeah, we do a great job of helping each other's business and sending referrals and giving each other referrals, helping out through that. And that's another reason why to give us a call, is that if we can't help you, we're going to know someone who can. We want to be your one-stop shop. We want to quarterback these introductions to the finest folks in Tampa Bay that we've assembled here. And it's the goal is to help you avoid all that commission-based advice. We want to make you more street smart and give you the straight up truth. Things happening out there in Tampa Bay.
You can't handle the truth.
So let's go ahead, and I want to thank Kayer, Synergistic Funding, and Nassim as well coming in, and James Lascano, TransWorld Business Advisors, business broker here locally in Tampa Bay. Support our local companies. Quick. You got something?
Yeah, I wanted to say something, and I just want to tell you, like what Brendan was saying, please take care of your health. I'm going through a very trying time right now, and I wanted to tell everybody that, love your family, spend time with them, and spend as much time as you can. And to my Uncle Carlos, who I love dearly, dearly, I love you, and God bless you, and I'll be by your side.
Please go out and consider making a random act of kindness. Stay with us. We'll see you next time.